Thanks very much, and thanks for the opportunity to participate. I recognize a number of faces in the room, but there are a lot of you are new to me, and I'm sure some of you are wondering why the copper industry is involved in this type of an initiative. So before the question gets asked in these type of fora, I like to just put the answer out there. Copper is the best non-precious conductor of heat and electricity. So the products that contain copper tend to operate more efficiently. So if we want to achieve higher efficiency in many of these products, it does require the use of copper. So I think Harry did a very good job of framing the Enlightened initiative, and we already know that we're expanding to other products, and there's good reasons for that. Between the period, one report I've seen that I'd like to use states between the period of 2010 and 2030, the quote-unquote middle class of the world will grow from 2 billion to 5 billion people. So think about 3 billion more people having the ability to purchase the products that you and I take for granted in the developed world, air conditioners, refrigerators, and we consider these products to be bought and sold already. The problem, though, is that a vast majority of the countries don't have the standards in place, so unless there are interventions, inefficient products are going to be sold. And if you look between the OECD and the non-OECD, the growth is massive. I mean, more than a doubling in refrigerators between now and 2030. Nearly 80% growth in air conditioners in the non-OECD. This is massive growth that is coming, whether or not we intervene. And it's evidenced also, if you look at global electricity consumption, it is growing by 64%, according to the International Energy Agency, by 2030. If I have the numbers wrong, Melanie can correct me. But if you look at the OECD, it's really, the growth isn't there. It's happening in the developing world, where it's going to more than double, and that's driven in large part by the need for appliances. And I want to take one of the S's that Monica introduced us to earlier, and that's scale. We're taking the Enlightened model, and we're focusing on additional products, appliances and industrial equipment. And by focusing on the 6 products that that Zetouni introduced us to earlier, we achieved scale, one of the S's that Monica spoke about. And these 6 product categories by 2030 will account for a majority of global electricity consumption, about 56%. There we go. And one of the things that we've taken from Enlightened is this idea of a country assessment. So we're actually looking at the countries that don't have the standards, or that if they do have standards where improvements can be made, and going in and speaking with them and saying, if you make commitments to energy efficiency in these products, this is what you'll be able to achieve. So a country can look and immediately see, okay, we could reduce our electricity consumption by this amount. We can reduce our CO2 emissions equivalent to a certain number of passenger vehicles. We could save the users, the people, the businesses that will use more efficient products this amount of money. And we could also avoid investments in power generation, because we won't need to generate as much power because our products will be more efficient. So one of the key deliverables of the Appliance Accelerator of United for Efficiency for the COP is 100 proactive country-level assessments. So at the Energy Day on December 7th, we'll be able to announce that these 100 countries, we've already done the work for you. If you just take the assessment, follow this approach that we have proven works with Enlightened, this is what you can achieve, and the savings are massive. There we go. I'm going to skip this slide. Harry did an outstanding job of going through the integrated policy approach. That Enlightened model we know will work, and we'll transfer it. We are transferring to United for Efficiency with these other products. Same thing. This is repetitive. And I'm standing between you and lunch, and really the slide clicker is standing between my lunch as well.
It's still waking up.
It's still, there we go. The Appliances Accelerator has grown quite rapidly. I mean, Zatuni mentioned it was only launched last year, but we've already achieved quite a lot. In terms of funding, the Global Environment Facility, the GEF, provided the startup funding that was approved last year of $1.5 million. Just in the last couple of weeks, a second request for funding from the GEF was approved for $3.1 million, so that's almost $5 million already from the GEF. We've leveraged the GEF commitments into more than $10 million in other commitments from many of the partners that you see here. And when you join the Appliances Accelerator, it's not it's more than the politics of it. You're not just signing a piece of paper and saying, yes, we want to support. If you're private sector, you need to make commitments to this. So you're looking at some of the names up there, ABB, Mabe, most recently Whirlpool. These are private sector companies that are making investments in United for Efficiency, and then they need to get involved in this integrated policy approach that Harry introduced us to in great detail. I'll be in Seoul at the end of this week, meeting with Samsung and LG, so hopefully by the COP we'll be able to say that we have 2 more manufacturing partners aligned with United for Efficiency. One of the main things we want to do is to become a global center of excellence. So United for Efficiency should become a one-stop resource to get these markets transformed towards efficient products. And in the interest of time, I'm just going to go to the last slide because I wanted to at least spend a minute talking about the current status, some of the activities that have been undertaken already and what's happening in the near term. The accelerator is advancing. We have a number of partners on board, as I have said, and the idea now is to form expert task forces, technical task forces for each of the product areas. And just last week, UNEP hosted in Paris the first 2 of these groups on refrigerators and on LEDs. And by the beginning of next year, the task forces for the other products will begin to convene. Having the GEF as a partner is enabling us to approach countries to use some of their GEF star allocations towards appliances efficiency. 3 of those projects have been approved already, and we have a number of others that are under consideration. Zatui talked about it a little bit. I'll talk just a little bit about it as well. One of our main goals is to have regionally harmonized standards. I can't think of a good reason why, the countries in the Southern African Development Community, for example, should each have a different standard for an air conditioner or a motor. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We see opportunities for countries to work together so that regional blocks of countries will adopt standards. That'll accelerate these market transformations, and it'll also do a lot to help the private sector because we won't need as many products to meet a standard. So that should also theoretically accelerate the uptake of efficient products. And we're always looking for more countries to become engaged. There are a number of countries represented in this room that don't have standards for these products, or if you do, maybe they're outdated and haven't kept pace with technology. So if there's one call to action for all of you here, is to see me, to see Harry, and to see what you can do to join this platform. Thanks very much.